people will be asking me, then I'll give them an answer. So it's a great question, actually. I like it. People will be asking me, then okay. So it's a great question, Nakomi, but it has led me to try and spend a few minutes to heart. So number one, a burnt offering it's a Levitical sacrifice in the Bible, where they had to sacrifices to build an altar and put the fire and burn it. The entire animal was consumed by fire on the altar. That's Leviticus chapter 1 verse 9. You can write that down. Leviticus chapter 1 verse 9. Now, because we don't have time, you would have, if you want, you can read it real quick, if you can find it. If not, I can just talk about it. So Leviticus 1 verse 9 symbolizes a full dedication to God. Nothing was kept back. So in other words, a sacrifice, it is nothing was kept back. It's just you sacrificed, like all the animal was consumed. But with an offering, you leave some things and then you offer. But with a sacrifice, it is something that you feel it with yourself. Go ahead and read the scripture.
Leviticus chapter 1, verse 9. But his inwards and his legs shall he wash in water, and the priest shall burn all on the altar to be a burnt sacrifice, an offering made by fire of a sweet savor unto the Lord.
So there are other sacrifices that actually they ate the meat. The priests, they did eat the sacrifices, but there is other burnt offering or burnt sacrifice. Everything was burnt, was given 100% to God. Then also, it's an atonement for sin. It was primarily offered for atonement, covering sins and restoring fellowship with God. Restoring fellowship with God. Primary offered for atonement, technically, covering sins and restoring fellowship with God. And also, daily requirement, burnt offerings were commanded daily in Israel, Numbers 28, verse 3 to 4, showing continual consecration. So a burnt offering is also a consecration. You consecrate yourself. And also number 4, you can write that it's a symbol of worship, represented worship, devotion, surrender of the whole life to God. A burnt offering is surrender to the whole life to God. Then it's number 5, it's also a blood sacrifice, always involved the shedding of the blood, pointing to Christ's ultimate sacrifice. Hebrews 10 verse 10. Now you must understand that it was consumed by fire. No part was eaten. The fire completely consumed it, symbolizing God's holiness and consuming sin. So a burnt offering, it is, I've seen people before in my life. There was a lady in San Francisco, came to me with an envelope of money. She said that's all she had. She actually gave the whole entire amount of money. It was scary what she did, but it was also scary what God did for her. God blessed her tremendously. But she was even weeping, said, I want to do a burnt offering. She gave the biggest amount of money she has ever given. And she wasn't even like a wealthy woman of some kind. She gave almost $10,000 just like this. And she was even weeping. But later on, I was interested to follow our story, to be honest. I was so intrigued. I wanted to see what God would do in our life. Then later on, God blessed her with $450,000. Before, she didn't even have a good car. Now she had a car, she had this and that. I said, wow. The rest is a story of testimony. I've seen a couple of times. Now, it's a fresh shadow. It's also a foreshadow of Jesus. The burnt offering is also a foreshadow of Jesus. It's a foreshadow of Jesus, that Jesus became the once and for all burnt offering for us, laying down his life fully for the mankind. That was a burnt offering. So we can even go deeper. That's what a burnt offering is. So when you talk about the burnt offering, it's actually a big amount of money that will hurt you in the natural. It is something like you even start crying. Say, oh my goodness, I gave so much today. What can I do about it? So now you understand. So that's a burnt offering. And I've seen people who have done that. They have really walked in certain level of blessing. But that's a burnt offering. So the burnt offering is actually, I've only talked about burnt offering. Now I need to talk about the normal offering. So number one, the burnt offering is the total surrender. It's atonement for sin. Daily requirement for burnt offerings where then it was a symbol of worship, because worship is loving adoration. The burnt offering involves the blood sacrifice. It's consumed by fire. Number 6. Number 7 is foreshadow of Jesus, represents Jesus. Now, general offerings, it's a voluntary act. Offering are given willingly out of love, gratitude, or thanksgiving. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7. Also, variety of forms can be money, produce, property, service, anything of value given to God. These are offering. No blood involved, unlike burnt offering. Financial or material offerings can't be involved in the blood offering. The expression of gratitude, offering often represents thanksgiving for blessing received. Deuteronomy 16, verse 10. Partial dedication, you give a portion, not necessarily all, unlike the total burnt sacrifice. It supports God's work. Offering sustains the temple, priest, church, ministry activities. Releases blessings. Offerings are tied to promises of overflow, harvest, and open heavens. Let's read the last scripture that talks about offering. That is Luke chapter 6, verse 38. Then I've answered your question. Will you read Luke chapter 6, verse 38? So burnt offering is a full sacrifice, atonement, consumed, and for a shadow of Jesus Christ. Offering is a free will gift, thanksgiving, support for ministry, releases of blessings.
Luke chapter 6, verse 38. Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down and shaken together, and running over, shall men give unto your bosom. For with the same measure that ye meet withal, it shall be measured to you again.
Yeah, so a burnt offering gives a quicker results, like a bigger results, like boom. Then this one, you measure your own blessing. The same measure you give, you'll be given back. The more you give, the more you receive. That's an offering. But a burnt offering, it's a lot of men of God that have changed the world, and they've done revolutionary things. They've always gone with a burnt offering. But that's like a radical. Then offerings, of course, it's just for the normal church people. Just offering. All right. Any question, but you are live if you ask a question. So just know you are on YouTube. I thought I could teach this a little bit because some people were asking also. Let me come out of YouTube.